Why do I do it? Why do I think it's a good idea to start these crazy projects? Okay, so we're back in the Witch Hut perimeter, and I'll be honest, I had every intention of starting this episode with a crazy time lapse building up all of these crater walls behind me. But yeah, that didn't happen because I have severely underestimated the amount of stone I'm going to need to finish this off. So I haven't been doing nothing in between episodes. I have done a little bit. If we fly over here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So these walls here, very smooth compared to how it was originally, and this is the result of bombing all this out with TNT. But over here, it's all smooth, and that's because I've been digging all this back, and you can see here, I'm still in the process of doing it. So yeah, this is looking a lot better. And the reason I've done this is not completely just to get the stone that I need. It's also because once this is all built up, and all this is filled in, this is going to be completely dark. And that means when it's like this, all rough and ready, there's going to be a lot of spawning spaces. So I'm trying to do away with all of that as well. Okay, so plans for today. Am I going to get these crater walls built up? Probably not. And even though this side is looking really cool, and I'd love to have the rest of it like it, I do need to smooth the rest of these out to get a bit more stone. But over here, you'll see another few chests have appeared. This area is turned into a complete mess again. So yeah, we have a bit of stone in here. A few shulker boxes full of stone as well. And yeah, it just keeps going. And then I've got some of the other stone variants in here as well. And I will be filling all of these up. I need to get some more shulker boxes as well. That's another thing on my list. Right, so what I actually want to do today is look at some of the new 1.19 stuff. I did mention briefly last time that this project is taking me so long, I've gone across Minecraft versions and not actually seen the new things. So that's what I want to do. If you look in this chest in here, I have already done a little bit of that. You see, we have some mangrove propagules, and I've got a few of the mangrove roots there, and a bit of the wood. So I have already found a mangrove swamp, and gone and done that, so we will go have a look at that in a second. But the thing I really want to do is get into the deep dark, and if I can, find an ancient city as well. I want to get the new enchantments for the leggings, and I also want to get some Skulk, because I think Skulk down here could look really good. I know it's a slightly different colour, but this is supposed to be like an alien entity thing, isn't it? And there's nothing much more alien than those skull blocks. So I think that's what we're going to try and find today. Okay, so first new thing, let's get some of these mangrove trees grown. And these things are so cool. I love them. I love the fact they've done something completely different with the trees. And the thing I really like is that we can bone meal the underside of these, even though I can't get up there because this is a crazy looking tree. Let's just pillar up with these for now. But yeah, we don't have to break the leaves to get the saplings. What we can do is bone meal the underside of the leaves. Not with that, go it. So we can bone meal the underside of these, and we get the mangrove propagules like that. So we don't ever have to worry with these trees about running out of saplings. We can just bone meal the underside of the leaves, and we'll have all this. So that is great, but what I really want to do is get across to the mangrove swamp, because over there is a new mob, and I definitely want to do something with that today as well. Okay, so I decided to come through the nether, but this is where my portal has ended up. It is in a mangrove swamp, but I'm down at, I think, Y24, so yeah, I've got to go up a bit. Why can't it ever be easy? Okay, so I've set up the portal on the surface now, and this is in the exact spot. I've tested it out, and it links up to the one in there. So that's the first job done. But now what I want to do is clear out some space, so I'm going to chop down a lot of these trees, and hopefully we'll find some frogs in the process. Okay, so I spent a little bit of time chopping down these mangrove trees, and this portal isn't in an ideal location. As you can see, it's right in the middle of this water. But as I do want to have a base, build something in this spot, maybe like a house on stilts, I think that could be pretty good. But chopping down these mangrove trees, it's no joke. There's so many leaves, and surprisingly, quite a small amount of wood on each tree. And it is spread out throughout the tree like you get on acacia, and it's just really annoying, to be honest. So I didn't spend too long doing this, but I've cleared out a little bit of an area, and that should be good enough for now. And then not too far from the mangrove swamp, there is a normal swamp. And I noticed there are some frogs in here. And I think I've got everything I need with me to do a little bit of the breeding. So I have a shulker box full of slime here, which is way more than enough. So this is what you need to attract the frogs, but then we also feed them this for breeding as well. So I fed the first two that I found, and then after that, I decided to set up a little bit of an area to do some breeding of the frogs so we can get some frog spawn. So I put everything down, and then I went around to some leads and gathered up the rest of the frogs that I could find in the area. Tied them up for now because they have a habit of escaping. Then I went and built a big ugly box out of the mangrove. I will improve this later, but for now, we're just going for functional. Then I freed them from the leads, bred them up, and that was a big mistake. I should have put a roof on it first, because while I was building the roof, pretty much all of them jumped out. So I made a hole in the side of this big ugly box, got them back in, and started doing a little bit of the breeding. And after a short time, I had a ton of tadpoles. So I crafted up a few buckets, and filled them all up. And this is where we are at the minute. As you can see, I have fancied this up a little bit, and it's definitely not just with the random stuff I had in my ender chest. Or maybe it is. But we've done quite well. And as you can see, we have a nether portal here, fully functional. We can get the frogs through when we choose to do that. And the plan is we're going to be using these for a frog light farm at some point, but maybe not these ones. These could just be the ones I use for getting the frog spawn, so you stay there. Got a little area through here, and 3 shulker boxes full of tadpoles. So that's a very good result, and I do actually have a few more in there as well, so we've done quite well with that. And I've hardly used any of my slime, so we can definitely use these, get a few more. And another portal here. I still have the other one over where we got the mangrove trees, so this is very close, and I'll show you that in the nether in a second. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave the frogs and the mangrove stuff for there for now. I may come back later and get some mud blocks. I'm definitely going to want to do some building with the mud bricks at some point. But for now, I think we should move on to the next thing. Okay, so after I finished messing about with the frogs, I did a little bit of work in the nether. And this is my fancy new tunnel. I know, just cobblestone and the smooth stone slabs at the minute. And that's the same as what I've got everywhere. So I like to do something really basic like this, so it'll force me to do a design eventually. But yeah, these are the 2 new portals I set up. That one goes to the mangrove swamp, and this one goes to where the frogs are. And just so we can get our bearings, that tunnel there, very close to everything else. So we have our 1.17 tunnel there. This one, which I can't remember actually, I think that goes to a desert. And then that one there is the starter village, and then that one is the quad witch perimeter. So the city is just, actually, let's go down there. You can see I still have blocks to fill in at the top, not finished yet, but I have placed an absolute ton of stuff in here and dug out a load of netherrack that was poking down from the ceiling. So I've been busy. Alright, so yeah, this is a new one I've set up. I believe this one should go to an ancient city, but I haven't been through it yet, so I was a bit scared. That's why I've started doing this actually. And then this one goes to the city where the main storage room is, and then down there, that one goes to the stronghold where the end portal is. Okay, right, next thing I want to do, I want to go to an ancient city, so I'm going to stock up on some stuff. And we'll get ourselves over there. Okay, so I've stocked up on everything I think I'm going to need. And I'm not an expert on the ancient cities or the deep dark for that matter, but I know wool and carpets are a big deal. So these dampen the sound, and hopefully that should mean less shriekers going off and less chance of running into a warden. I've also brought some night vision potions because I know placing light sources can actually make a sound as well. But I have also brought some glowstone for before we get into the ancient city, because that nether portal is not going to go exactly where I want it to. So to get through the caves, before we get there, we can light it up on the way. A couple of empty shulker boxes. These are going to make a noise as well, but I'm hoping I'm going to get some stuff that I'm going to need to put in there. And I also have another full shulker box of wool as well. And the hoe. This is going to be the main tool for when we're down there. This is going to break all the skulk and all the other stuff like the catalyst, because that's the main thing I really want to get today. I want to get a skulk catalyst, which the wardens do drop, but I believe they are just around in the deep dark as well. And snowballs for distracting the warden just in case. And then ender pearls for a quick escape just in case as well. But I think that should be it. Anyone who knows anything about Deep Dark will probably be looking at this and going, no, that's completely wrong. But I'm going to do it anyway. Let's go. Okay, so this is where the portal has brought me. And this doesn't look like the Deep Dark, does it? And yeah, we're not, because we're at Y68. This is definitely not right. So I am going to have to go down and try and find this thing. So yeah, I'll explore this cave a little bit. See what we can find. Big, scary cave. Don't want to go in there. You know, it'd probably make more sense to just staircase down, wouldn't it? Because I've got a long way to go and these caves are not going to get me there quickly. So let's just do this. No, not playing. Alright, so we're down to deep slate. And I really wish I'd brought a fortune pick, not a silk touch, but never mind. Let's dig through this a little bit. And hopefully we shouldn't be far away now. That's a lot of gravel. Alright, are we anywhere near? Can we see any skulk? I can't see the skulk, and I don't want to fly down there. This is going to be a very complicated staircase to come back up, but alright, we'll go here. Anything? No. Alright, keep going down. There's another huge cave. Oh, that's looking promising though. This is it. We are in an ancient city. Alright, first things first, I think we need to take a night vision potion so we can see what's going on. Lighting is not an issue, as no other mobs can spawn down here, but it'd be nice to see where these sensors are. Alright, just going to dig a staircase down so we can get back up. I'm not really worried about the sound here, as I'm assuming because there's no skulk, there shouldn't be any sensors close by. And straight away, we have our first chest, so let's have a look what we've got. Yeah, that's not worth taking. Moving on. Okay, so seeing the first bit of skulk here, and we need to start sneaking unless I walk on carpet or wool. And luckily, there are quite a few walkways made of wool. And I'm just grabbing these first few pieces of Skulk, but I didn't realise there was a sensor just next to me, so I definitely need to be more careful. And I think from now on, I should really sneak everywhere, as these sensors are going to be hard to spot, especially when they can chain together and set the others off. I'll take an advancement though, thank you very much. Alright, so getting a little bit further in, this room looks scary. Shriekers and sensors, so I need to be really careful. Should probably place some wool here and start blocking things off. This might be a bit over the top, but I'm surrounding this whole group with wool as I really don't want to set them off. Okay, so next chest, and again, not great, but there are a couple of disc fragments, so I'll have those. Bit careless again though, and I set off the sensors above the chest, but because I've blocked off the shriekers, I think I've got away with it. I should be okay to break this catalyst now, and this is the main thing I'm here for, so technically, I could leave now. Also, as I've covered the close by sensors, I might as well grab some Skulk blocks from this spot. And another catalyst. Nice. Placing wool everywhere does work great, but that's my first night vision potion gone, so not great for speed. And I've only found 2 chests so far. There are so many sensors around here, it's crazy. I think I'm definitely going to stick to placing wool for this first run. Just feels safer. Also, when there are sensors and shriekers right next to each other, I think the easiest thing to do is just surround them with wool, and then I don't have to worry about them. And that also applies when there's a group of sensors. I found another chest, but there are sensors everywhere. I think the easiest thing to do is just to block them off with wool. Alright, so this chest is definitely better, but still no swift sneak. Another chest, and not great loot. Still no swift sneak. I'm getting the hang of breaking things, but I'm using an excessive amount of wool, taking far too long. And there is the second night vision potion gone. After a fairly uneventful few minutes, I made the mistake of climbing a ladder, and I set a shrieker off. Everything went dark, and yeah, this is scary. Don't like this. If this happens 3 times, then it's warden time, and we definitely don't want that. Another chest, and finally got swift sneak. Only level 2, but that's better than nothing. I also found one of the redstone rooms with the displays of basic circuits, and these things are really cool, but I didn't want to risk accidentally setting off a piston, so I left all this alone. And with that, I decided to call this first trip finished. I've been here about 30 minutes, and that's enough sneaking for now. This city is huge though, and I've nowhere near explored it all, so I'm definitely going to have to come back at some point and see what else I can find. Okay, so as that was my first ever trip to an ancient city, I didn't think that was too bad. And this is what we ended up getting from it. So I took my soul touch hut and we manned a few of the Skulk blocks, but I didn't get too many because, you know, didn't want to take too many risks. Same thing with the Skulk sensors and the Skulk shrieker. I think this is more of a novelty item once you remove it from where it is, because these can't actually summon wardens once you've moved them. They can only do that in the place that they generate. And the main thing I was going for was the Skulk catalyst. So this is the thing we need to generate this stuff and create a farm. And a couple of other little bits as well. Enchanting golden apples, can't complain about that. Very rare nowadays, now that you can't craft them anymore. Diamond leggings, yeah, not great. We've got the disc fragments, so we can actually craft that now. That's enough there, isn't it? So let's do that. Got exactly enough. Nice, I'll take that. And didn't get any of the shards for making the recovery compass, but, you know, one thing we did get was the Swift Sneak 2. I would have liked to get the Swift Sneak 3, but that'll do for now. So if we take our leggings off, we can actually put that on there, can't we? So next time we go to an ancient city, at least we'll have that on there and it'll be a little bit faster. Now, I don't know how good this is, so I haven't got them on here. Put them on, does it make a difference? Oh yeah, that you can feel that. So getting the 3rd level of this would definitely be beneficial, but next time we go to an ancient city, we'll be a little bit faster. Now I've got 2 options. I can either go test this Skulk block in the crater, or we could just actually build a farm and get a lot of it anyway. Yeah, I think we should do that. And the place that we're going to do this is in the end. And my end dimension, not a lot going on at the minute. I do actually have a staircase, which I forgot about. But other than that, barely done anything. I've only killed the dragon once. So we only have 1 gateway, where, I don't even know where it is. Oh yeah, over there. That's it, the only one. So I've got a lot of work to do in the end. I do have a few plans for the things I want to do around here. But the first thing we need to do is get on with this Skulk farm. Okay, so obviously we want to build this thing as low down in the world as possible to increase the spawns. So I've done the standard thing of letting the lava flow over the edge, letting it get down to the bottom, and then putting water at the side of it so it'll turn into cobblestone. And I did that on both sides just so we had a bit of symmetry and something to build off. Then I've just put water down the middle of those cobblestone pillars, built some sea lanterns down to the bottom, and then finally bridged out with 2 stacks of leaves. So that puts me 128 blocks away from the end island, and I will go a little bit further when we get down there, but that is the minimum distance we need to be, so there'll be no endermen spawning on the main island, and they'll all be spawning in this farm. Okay, so we're at the end of our leafy bridge. And as you can see, there's no enderman on there at all. And the design of this Skulk farm is by Razeworks. So I will put a link to that down in the description. And, oh yeah, this is the other thing I want to say. When I was bridging out, I was freaking out because I was going really fast. But I remembered I've got Swift Sneak, haven't I? And bridging out with Swift Sneak, although really fast, it's really scary because you just think you're going to fall off any minute. But yeah, this is great. Another advantage to Swift Sneak I didn't know about. But anyway, let's get on with this thing. Okay, so first thing, just a little working area with a crafting bench and my shulker boxes. And then it's on to all the redstone bits at the bottom. So first up, we have a clock that's going to power the stone generators. Then above that, we're building the collection system for the Skulk blocks. We're just using chests with hoppers on top. And then we're having hopper minecarts on top of that. Then at the back, we have the player area with its own separate clock. So this is where I'm going to stand and get pushed across by this honey block. And then finally on top of that, we have the stone generators, just finishing those off with the water and the lava. So that's a complicated bit. The easy bit is just building the Enderman farm. So just pillar up 20 blocks, build a platform, obviously out of iron blocks. And then it's everyone's favourite bit of trapping an endermite. So just throwing ender pearls at these rails over and over again until we get endermite. And it didn't take me too long. Got this one name tagged and into a minecart, and that was it. Then we just need to break all these temporary wool blocks, make sure it's on top of these iron bars. If we break all these sea lanterns, the endermen start spawning, and they try and get to the endermite, and they're straight down that hole and instantly dying. Okay, so I think it's safe to say this thing is absolutely crazy. The amount of endermen coming out of this is madness. They're not grouping up at the bottom like a normal enderman farm. In this case, they just die on the dripstone that's in there, and instantly we have all this skulk. So this farm has two modes. One is to get the blocks, and the other is to get XP, because all of these blocks, skulk blocks, contain the XP that's come from the enderman when they die. So if we want to get the XP, we need to use a hoe without silk touch. If we want to get the blocks, we use silk touch. So this way, we're getting the XP. And then with the other hoe, we can use this and get all the skulk. Now, I have been doing this for a bit. I've been AFK for quite a while. And if we just come around here, we can see what I've got. I am going to make this prettier eventually and do a decent storage system. But for now, look at this. Look at all that skulk in both sides. And we have a few of the shriekers and quite a few of the sensors as well. So I might use some of these in the crater as well. Could make it a little bit more alien. And the skulk vein as well. I also have an idea for those. So I suppose what we should do is maybe pack up some of this stuff, get some shulker boxes, and get back over to the crater and see what we can do with this stuff. Alright, so we're back in the crater, and I've grabbed a few building things, so let's go give this a go. Right, so with these tentacle vein type things that we got built last time, I want to take it up a notch with the alienness. Yep, that's a word. So what I was thinking is if we had the skulking around where the blackstone is, it's going to look a little bit more freaky, and, you know, I thought this would be really jarring a difference, but, you know, it's not that bad. I think it works quite well. But, obviously, it doesn't merge perfectly, so what I was thinking was the skulk vein could help us out there. So what we can do with this is just put this down on a block that's next to the skulk, and also on the skulk as well. And I think from a distance, this is going to look like it's somewhere in between the block that it's on and the skulk. So in this case, it's between the blackstone and the skulk, and then we've got this in-between block here. And we can put this down the sides, and we can do all kinds of crazy stuff with this. And I think this will work on any block that we've got it next to. So if we just do that, put this next to concrete, like something like that. Actually, that's even better than the blackstone, actually. And again, with the crying obsidian, that would work as well. So we've got lots of options for making this really, really crazy. This is more something that's going to look good from a distance rather than when you're like right on top of it. But I think when we're a little bit further back, this is going to look really good. And yeah, it's going to be on an absolute huge scale. And I also think I'm going to want some on this middle bit as well. Next to the coal blocks, it's obviously going to work with those as well. But yeah, this is going to look good. I'm very excited about getting some more of this done. And these big patches we've got here, I'm going to put down loads of sculpt blocks, make this all broken up. The moss is actually going to be more of like a background block. I know we have loads of it at the minute, but my plan is to have these veins coming out a little bit. Because at the moment, we've got 4 big ones going into the corners where the witch huts are. But I also think it'd be good if we had some offshoots coming off here. Maybe another little one coming off the middle. Something that hasn't quite reached its potential to get to the edge. But yeah, just something like that, making it look a lot more organic rather than just going straight to the witch huts. Sounds like a lot of work. It really is. So, no time like the present. Let's jump into a time lapse and get some building done. And there we are. 12 hours later. That's right, 12 hours later. This is where we are. And I would argue this is an even bigger change from when we first added the original tentacles that went up to the witch huts. This has been an absolute ton of work. I gotta say, it does look pretty awesome. And it's not 100% finished. I do have a few things I want to do, but you know, 12 hours work, I've had enough, to be honest. I'll come back and do some tweaks later on, but I do need to leave some space because we do have this big central tower that's going to be going in here. I have no idea what it's going to look like yet because I don't want to cover this up. It's probably going to be an asymmetrical thing, so maybe have something built there that goes up and then comes over to support this thing. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet, but I really like how this has worked. So, 12 hours, and that is just building time. I have done a lot of other stuff in between. The first bit I did was over here, and I did go really heavy with the Skulk veins at first. And as you can see, everywhere else, not so much. And that's because the first lot I had, I completely drained them just doing this bit here. So I have been back across to my Skulk farm. I AFK'd for a few hours longer to get a load more, but then I was a little bit more sparing after I got back, because after I've done a little bit more, I thought it looked quite good to just have them in certain patches. It just draws your eye to certain little bits of it, and it just doesn't look the same all the way across. But I do think the Skulk blocks themselves add so much to these veins, and we've got them going all the way around now. And then once I got all the leaves in and all the course there, making it all look rough and ready, it's looking really good. And I did go quite heavy on the stone as well. One of the veins I decided to ditch the black stone and just go for stone, and I like the look of that so much that I've added that into pretty much all the others. There's still a few that need changing, tweaking a little bit, but you know what, I think it's looking absolutely awesome compared to just before I started this. So yeah, I've mentioned the 12 hours and I'm going to keep mentioning it because it was a lot, but that's not all I've done in that time. I actually ran out of dirt, so I've been across to the Hobbit Hills area and I've been digging out some dirt from under the terrain. This area, I've used an absolute ton of leaves, so I've been across to a birch forest to harvest a load of the birch leaves. And the other one is the azalea, so I've planted an absolute ton of them, harvested all the leaves, and I've had to do this quite a lot. Another big resource that we're going to need is the stone, so just to give myself a rest from doing all this building, I've been smoothing out all of this area around the edge, and I think I'm pretty much there now. I don't think there's any more stone I can dig out from under here. And doing all that, I've had to repair my tools quite a lot as well, so I've been across to the gold farm, got that done. So yeah, even though it's only 12 hours building, this has taken me over 2 weeks to get done. But that was partly out of necessity as well, because I have been a little bit ill, and this is the first chance I've had in 2 weeks to do some voice recording, because I've had such a sore throat. But feeling much better now, so hopefully we can get on with some stuff. But if you have enjoyed this episode, please do leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.